bills and concurrent resolutions. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 378 by Senator Berger, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure. Senate Bill 379 by 2017 Special Committee on Natural Resources, an act concerning water. Senate Bill 380 by Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning pawnbrokers and precious metal dealers. Senate Bill 381 by Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning the Kansas Recreational Trails Act. Senate Bill 382 by Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure. Senate Bill 383 by Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure. Senate Bill 384 by Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning the Kansas Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. Senate Bill 385 by Committee on Utilities, an act concerning the State Corporation Commission. Senate Bill 386 by Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act concerning the Behavioral Sciences Regulatory Board. Senate Bill 387 by Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act concerning health and healthcare. Senate Bill 388 by Senator Hardy, an act concerning the judicial branch. Senate Bill 389 by Committee on Ways and Means, an act concerning children and minors. Senate Bill 390 by Senator Goya, an act enacting the Extreme Risk Order Act. Senate Bill 391 by Committee on Transportation, an act regulating traffic.
This constitutes the introduction of Senate Bill 378 through Senate Bill 391. Please note reference of bills on pages 1 through 3 of the calendar. Introduction of original motions and Senate resolutions. The clerk will read.
Senate Resolution 1765 by Senator Baumgartner, a resolution congratulating and commending the individuals selected as award-winning educators in Kansas.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Miami County, Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Madam President. Resolution 1765 is designed to recognize 55 educators throughout the state of Kansas. They will actually all be coming to Topeka on Friday. One of them, Heidi Alban, is an educator in Mays School District, that's USD 266, and she is being recognized as the recipient of the 2007 Milken Educator Award. She is the only recipient for the state. We also have 22 educators at both the elementary, middle, and high school level that are receiving National Board Certification, which is a voluntary process, and it's achieved through performance-based assessments where the teacher is videotaped and evaluated and is identified as achieving the highest and most rigorous standards in the classroom. And last but not least is one of my favorite, and that is the Horizon Award. We have 32 educators from the elementary, middle, and high school that are recognized for their outstanding achievement in their first year of teaching. So they just are midway through their second year of teaching, and those are our Horizon Award winners. And so I do at this time move an emergency be declared, the rules suspended, and Senate Resolution 1765 be adopted by voice vote.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The chair recognizes the majority leader in Johnson County, Senator Denny.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of bills on the calendar under the heading of General Orders.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries. The chair appoints a senator from Central County, Senator Kirshman, to preside over the Committee of the Whole.
Senate, having resolved itself in committee of the whole, will now consider those items listed on the calendar under heading of general orders. We now turn our attention to Senate Resolution 1762. Chair recognizes Senator Johnson, Senator Pilcher to explain the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, it wasn't that long ago there used to be snarky comments about the subject of pornography. Now we know it's not a laughing matter. Once you look at the scientific data and you hear the personal testimonies about individuals and families being irreversibly harmed, many of us recognize pornography leaves tragedy in its wake. It is a public hazard. I'm not going to read the resolution, but I encourage everyone who hasn't read it to do so. Our society is now becoming aware of the harmful effects of sexual harassment. Women are right to be angry when men treat them like objects and act like bullies and pigs. Just like men should be insulted when women treat them that way. And pornography is a notch above that by distorting a view of human sexuality that is contrary to authentic love. For testimony committee, we heard the scientific evidence. Law enforcement testified that pornography was common in dysfunctional family homes, and the Attorney General's office testified that pornography was used as a gateway to sex trafficking, that sexually exploited women and children are often used for the production of pornography without their consent, and some victims are trafficked specifically for the use and production of pornography. According to the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, traffickers show pornography to sex trafficking victims to train them and desensitize them to sex acts that they will be forced to perform. The internet makes the distribution and consumption of pornography very easy. Webcams, digital cameras, and smartphones can all be used as tools to produce, access, and trade images. Representative Dr. A. Rafi, a radiologist, testified about the scientific data regarding the impact of pornography on the brain and neurodevelopment. Neurobiology related to pornography and addiction is complex, but there is a developing understanding of neuroplasticity in the hardwiring of the brain regions related to rewards and pleasure pathways. The evidence increasingly supports the description of compulsive sexual behaviors as an addiction, recently described in a paper titled, which I won't go into the title. If anybody wants to know, they can come up and ask me. But it was published in the journal Socio-Affective Neuroscience and Psychology. Drugs of abuse and behavioral rewards such as pornography have the same molecular and cellular mechanisms that control vulnerability to addiction as described in the Journal of Neuroscience. Importantly, there is a significant negative association between pornography use and gray matter volume in certain portions of the brain. In addition to the anatomical differences which can be seen in an MRI, functional activity and functional connectivity are also negatively associated with pornography consumption. These findings were described in a JAMA psychiatry article. During childhood and adolescence, there is a tremendous amount of neurodevelopment. During these years, the hardwiring of the brain is being established. The effect of pornography on the neural development of children is particularly concerning. There's a significant effect of exposure to media on adolescents' attitudes and perceptions found and described in the study published in Adolescent Medicine. Sexting behaviors have been found to be significantly associated with consumption of pornography. Sexually explicit movies have been found to be significantly related to beliefs that women are sex objects. Those findings were described in a study called Adolescents' Exposure to Sexualized Media Environment and Their Notions of Women as Sex Objects. Now, Todd Bowman, also gave testimony. He's an educator and the author of the nation's only accredited sexual addiction treatment provider certificate program for licensed mental health practitioners. And he gives a very important quote that goes to the nut of this resolution. Quote, "To prevent unprecedented emotional, psychological, and physical damage to generations born in the digital age, we must first recognize pornography as a public health crisis, and then respond with skillfully prepared and executed intervention." Now, in the work on the social cost of pornography, the Witherspoon Institute in Washington, D.C. cites that high pornography users were found to score higher on 1, acceptance of the rape myth, 2, acceptance of violence towards women, 3, adversarial sex beliefs, 4, reported likelihood of committing rape, 5, forced sex acts, and 6, sexual callousness. There are neurobiological changes associated with pornography consumption that underlie these attitudes, especially true in the developmental process of young men and women, who, according to Covenant Eyes, from ages 12 to 17, comprise the largest demographic of internet pornography users. The sexual imaginations of young people are often filled with scenes of abuse, humiliation, violence, and rape. Our collective disdain for rape culture should serve as a compelling rationale for identifying pornography as a public health crisis. Prolonged pornography viewing over time leads to 4 notable brain-related changes, as discussed by author Peter Wilson: desensitization, sensitization, hypofrontality, and dysfunctional. Desensitization can be understood as a numbed response to pleasure. The second brain-related change, sensitization, can be defined as an unconscious supermemory of pleasure that, when activated, triggers powerful cravings. Hypofrontality, the third brain-related change, is best understood as reduced brain activity in the prefrontal regions, which weakens willpower in the face of strong subconscious cravings. The final brain-related change, according to Wilson, leads to dysfunctional stress circuits, which can make even minor stress lead to cravings and relapse because they activate powerful sensitized pathways. I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Senator from Johnson on the resolution? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Science is showing us how harmful pornography is to the individual's health. It is also harmful to the public health of the community. Everyone in some way is affected by increased pornography use in society. We all suffer negative consequences from its distorted view of the human person and sexuality. There are many tears shed in the committee hearing when personal stories were given. Pornography hurts the user by diminishing the capacity for healthy human relationships. As I stated earlier, it's a distorted view of human sexuality, contrary to authentic love. And because of that, it harms a person's sense of self-worth. Our bodies have a beautiful meaning and dignity, and should be treated with the greatest respect. Our bodies are not meant to be used, but loved. The opposite of love is using a person as if he or she were an object. But to love others is to recognize them as the gift they are as human beings, to seek what is truly good and best for them, and never to use them and objectify them as something less than persons. Pornography breaks down trust between family members, and it damages the ability of parents and other adults to be virtuous role models for children. We've seen the corrosive damage caused by pornography. Children whose innocence is stolen, men and women who feel great guilt and shame for viewing pornography habitually, spouses who feel betrayed and traumatized, and men, women, and children exploited by the pornography industry. There is no political ideology here regarding this subject, because it is the reality of the differences and mutual dependencies of men and women. Pornography exploits and humiliates those being used, and it dehumanizes the user at the same time. Pornography is creating a public health crisis and perpetuates a sexually toxic environment. I urge your vote for this resolution, and I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Resolution 1762 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now turn our attention to Senate Bill 284. Chair recognizes Senator from Lyon, Senator Longline, to explain the bill and ask for the committee report. Adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move we adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 284 would make changes to the Kansas Money Transmitter Act. It would provide rules and regulations. The bill would specify that the state banking commissioner is allowed to issue an order or after notice and an opportunity for a hearing to address violations of the rules and regulations adopted pursuant to the Kansas Money Transmitter Act. It would allow the commissioner to enter into informal agreements at any time with a person to resolve a matter arising under the KMTA rules and regulations adopted pursuant to the KMTA or an order issued pursuant to KMTA. It was described to the committee in testimony by the State Banking Commissioner's Office that these informal agreements would be used on the most minor of violations instead of entering into the full procedure that they do for major violations. The bill would also allow the commissioner to designate people in their office to administer, interpret, and enforce the KMTA. There was a technical amendment related to a statute number that was adopted by the committee. There was no neutral or opponent testimony to the Senate Bill 284. I'd be happy to stand for questions.
Are there any questions for the Senator from Lyon? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee rises and report, it reports Senate Bill 284 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carries. We now turn our attention to Senate Bill 283. Chair recognizes the Senator from Lyon, Senator Longline, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 283 would amend several sections of the state banking code. First change in section 1 would be a change in terminology from common trust to collective investment funds. It was explained to the committee in testimony that collective investment funds is the more appropriate term in today's environment. Section 2, notification for acquiring control or changing control of a bank. The bill would specify that a person acting directly, indirectly, or indirectly in concert with one or more persons is prohibited from engaging in any activity that may result or does result in acquiring control of any bank holding company, or trust company without notifying the commissioner at least 30 days in advance prior to acquiring control. Section 3 provides a waiver of notice requirement that would allow or would require the amendment that a person proposing to acquire control of a bank or trust company undertaking a merger transaction submit an application 60 days prior to the proposed change. The bill would permit the commissioner to waive the 60-day notice requirement if the acquired bank or trust company is under formal corrective action. Section 4 outlines the qualifications of the Deputy Commissioner of the Banking Division. The bill was brought to us by the State Banking Commissioner's Office. There was no neutral or opponent testimony, and I'd be happy to stand for questions.
Are there any questions for the senator from Lyon on the bill? Not seeing any, senator, we close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee rises in a report, it reports Senate Bill 283 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. We now turn our attention to Senate Bill 292. The chair recognizes the senator from Lyon. Explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 292 would amend law relating to the expulsion of credit union members. The bill would authorize the credit union employee designated by the board of directors to expel a credit union member from the credit union under certain circumstances. The bill would specify a member could be expelled for failure to comply with the credit union's adopted policy regarding expulsion. The bill would require the president or the general manager to report such expulsion at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Additionally, the bill would eliminate the requirement that the board of directors provide notice to the member not less than 30 days to the effective date of the expulsion. The bill would instead require the expelled member to be informed of the reason for the expulsion. The expelled member would be permitted to appeal the expulsion to the board of directors within 30 days. This was brought to us by the Heartland Credit Union Association, and the Kansas Department of Credit Unions testified in support. There was no opposition and no neutral testimony. You have to stand for questions.
Are there any questions for the senator from Lyon? Not seeing any, senator, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Bill 292 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next, turn our attention to Senate Bill 335. Again, we call on the senator from Lyon, Senator Longmire, to explain the bill and adopt the committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move we adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 335 is the modernization of the savings and loan and savings bank and the merger into the state banking code. New section 1 defines the activities of mutual state banks and how they might be organized. New section 5 is definitions on an investment capital stock, and also defines what savings and loan service corporation or service corporations, a corporation or limited liability organized under Kansas law. It gives those definitions. New section 2 outlines the investment in a service corporation by a savings and loan or savings bank, and that investment would not exceed 3% of the association's assets. New section 3 also defines the application and loan association, defines the application required to the commissioner's office. New section 4 defines the activities of a service corporation. New section 6 allows for a certificate of existence which is basically an authorization for someone in a small business or an LLC to act on behalf of the owner and opening up a deposit account, a loan account, or other banking loan relationship. Section 7 is state bank code definitions. We provide the following definitions to state banking code. It defines what a stock bank is, a mutual state bank, and a savings and loan association. Section 8 gives provisions for conversion to a state bank. Section 9, conversion to a national bank. And then sections 10 through 20 outline the capital requirements. Sections 22 through 25 are internal references. The bill was brought to us by the Kansas Bankers Association. The State Banking Commissioner's Office offered testimony in support. There were no neutral or opponent testimony provided to the committee. With that, I'll be happy to stand for questions.
Are there any questions for the senator from Lyon? Senator from Riley, Senator Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a strange question for the carrier of the bill, if I might.
Yes.
On page 41 of the bill, it talks about TANF and some of the procedures that DCF does, and I'm sure there's a good reason. I see there's been some changes on page 40, line 17 in section 8, saying placement under the revised Kansas Code for the Care of Children or revised Kansas Juvenile Justice Code. So my question is, why is that in a banking bill?
It's my understanding from the revisor that there were references to TANF in the old savings and loan legislation for some reason way back from 1943 when they were first adopted. And for her to properly repeal this, it had to be listed in this. So this is actually a repeal of the items that you are questioning.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate getting that information.
Are there any other questions for the senator from Lyons? Senator from Douglas, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I noticed that one of the definitions you're changing is with regard to a stock bank, which is a bank that has no ownership structure represented by stock. And then it talks about a federal savings association, and this is on B, also on page 10, or federal savings bank operating in a mutual form and which seeks to become a stock bank must also convert to stock form prior to converting to a state bank. So is there a difference between a state bank or a stock bank, or is this saying a stock bank is one form of the state bank?
Senator from Lyon.
I think the section that the question pertains to is we are making provisions for a stock chartered bank to become a federal or a state chartered bank.
Senator from Douglas.
Thank you. So a stock bank is also a state bank, and that's why you say you convert to a stock before you convert to the state bank.
I believe that is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the senator from Lyon? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee rises to report Senate Bill 335 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We now turn our attention to Senate Bill 256. We call on the senator from Fayette County, Senator Galt, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I explain the bill, I want to thank leadership, especially the Chairman of Transportation and Minority Leader, for cooperating and helping and guiding me through this bill. This bill deals with, first of all, it's going to change, there's Highway 50, and from Dodge City to Emporia, Highway 50 is called the Turkish Wheat, Red Wheat Highway. What I want to do, what this statute would do, would take 6 miles of that road, and it would rename it, there was by a little town, Wright, Kansas. Strike Kansas has about 200 people in it. They don't have a cop. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's dog. In July of 1970, on July 2nd, a guy by the name of Private First Class Richard Conrad was killed in Vietnam. You know, the senator from Leavenworth has helped me with this, trying to understand the protocol. Sergeant Steimel was also located in Vietnam, and I guess the normal protocol, and this was what the rumor we were told, was that Sergeant Steimel would accompany the body home. Unfortunately, Sergeant Steimel was in a hospital in Saigon with shrapnel wounds, so he wasn't able to come home. And on July 30th of the same month, in this little town, Sergeant Steimel was killed in a battle. Let's go back to Richie Conrad first. Richie was, his unit was overran. He saw a soldier in distress. He went to help him and was mortally wounded. When he went to help him for that, he received a Silver Star. Sergeant Steimel platoon came on a heavily entrenched enemy. The initial battle, 40% of Greg's company was either killed or wounded. Greg, with his machine gun, started firing, kept firing, got wounded. While he was firing, they were able to take back the wounded and dead. Greg, they said, probably could have left the jungle, but instead he saw a bunch of small arms and such laying on the ground. So he went and picked those up and got it back to his platoon. He was wounded again and died. So kind of a side note, Greg's dad was standing outside when the soldiers were stopped at the rectory, and right, you could see everything in it everywhere. And he saw the soldiers pointing at Steimel's house, and Al ran inside, trying to avoid the obvious, but soon there was a knock on the door. What this bill would do is name 6 miles of the highway. When I called Chuck's great oldest brother, it's Nick's oldest brother, Greg's the oldest, then Chuck. I said, Chuck, I want to name a highway after 6 miles of this highway after brother. And there was silence, and then Chuck said, can you get Richie on the bill? That's how the Steimel family is. So I said, I certainly try. So, I guess that explains it. What we want to do is we want to put an amendment on it. The Steimel mother is not long for this world. She's 92 years old. And my goal and this is where leadership has really worked with me, is to get this so the mother can see it before she passes. So we're going to put an amendment. I'd like to put an amendment on and move on page 1, line 22, by striking statute book and inserting the Kansas.
Can you turn the amendment in?
I turned it in, yes, I'm sorry.
So you want to explain it or have it read?
Well,
Sounds like
I'm kind of reading it right now. That's what I'm asking.
Sounds like you're going to explain it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Follow protocol. I moved to amend 256, page 1, line 22, by striking statute book and inserting Kansas register. And that's it.
Did anybody want to see the amendment written? We have some in case you need it. Any questions on the amendment? Seeing none, Senator, you may move your amendment.
I move my amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Amendment is adopted. Are there any questions on the bill as amended? Any questions at all? Seeing none, Senator, you may close.
I close. Thank you.
You've heard me make the motion.
I move with the committee rises and reports Senate Bill 256 favorably as for passage.
As amended.
As amended.
You've heard the motion. You can't blame Scoogle for that. So, heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion amendment is passed. Chair recognizes the majority from Johnson County, Senator Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Clerk will read the committee report.
On motion of Senator Denny, the Senate resolved itself into committee of the whole for consideration of bills on the calendar under the heading of general orders, with Senator Kirshen in the chair. Recommended, Senate Resolution 1762 be passed. Senate Bill 284 be amended by the adoption of the committee amendments, and the bill be passed as amended. Senate Bill 283 be passed. Senate Bill 292 be passed. Senate Bill 335 be amended by the adoption of the committee amendments, and the bill be passed as amended. Senate Bill 256 be amended on motion of Senator Dahl, and the bill be passed as amended.
Chair recognizes the senator from Citrus County, Senator Kirshen, to adopt the committee report.
I move to adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Chair recognizes the majority leader from Johnson County, Senator Denny.
Thank you, Madam President. I move an emergency be declared, the rules suspended, and the following bills and resolutions be advanced to final action and roll call. Senate Resolution 1762, Senate Bill 284, Senate Bill 283, Senate Bill 292, Senate Bill 335, and Senate Bill 256.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are now ready for final action. On this roll call, we will take the following. The resolution on page 4, Senate Resolution 1762, and the bills on page 4 through 6. Senate Bill 284, Senate Bill 283, Senate Bill 292, Senate Bill 335, and Senate Bill 256. The clerk will read the titles.
Senate Resolution 1762, a resolution recognizing that pornography is a public health hazard that leads to a broad spectrum of individual and public health impacts and societal harms. Senate Bill 284, an act concerning financial institutions. Senate Bill 283, an act concerning the regulation of financial institutions. Senate Bill 292, an act concerning financial institutions. Senate Bill 335, an act concerning financial institutions. Senate Bill 256, an act designating a portion of the United States Highway 50 as a SGT Greg Steimel and PFC Richard Cornerly Memorial Highway.
The clerk will call the roll.
Alley. Baumgartner.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Billinger. Goyer.
No on 1762, aye on the ballot.
Bowers.
Aye.
Denny. Dahl. Estes. Basquido. Fitzgerald.
No on 284, aye on the ballot.
Francisco. Gibbons. Goddard. Haley.
Senator Randolph.
Thank you, Madam President. I vote no on Senate Resolution 1762 and aye on the remainder. I'd like to explain my no vote on the resolution.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. I vote no on Senate Resolution 1762, striving to affirm, quote, pornography is a public health hazard that leads to a broad spectrum of individual and public health impacts and societal harms, unquote, for two basic reasons, both of which I speak to now and in print in the journal to mitigate any negative postcards that a once and a future opponent might consider sending. Madam President, primarily I've always held the constitutionality of the First Amendment, including freedom of speech and expression, to be held sacrosanct, most especially where such speech or conduct is private and held between consenting, mentally sound adults. Secondly, in my opinion, it is inaccurate and misleading to consider, quote, pornography in terms of a, quote, public health, unquote, issue. Even though just a resolution, the danger in this language being affirmed by the majority in this chamber and maybe across the way, I fear could lead to unintended consequences in many ways, maybe even including state funding. Most importantly, though, I do believe that pornography is rampant and that society is better served to minimize its existence, especially on public sources such as the internet, and to more vigorously protect our citizenry. We should prosecute any example where predatorily generated pornography is against a child, or the mentally infirm, or under any economic servitude or economic duress. And I would appreciate it if my remarks were spread.
So ordered.
Hardy.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Hensley.
Aye.
Hildebrand.
No on 284. Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
Kelly. Kershaw.
Aye.
Longbine.
Aye.
Lynn.
Aye.
Masterson.
284.
McGinn.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Peterson. Petty.
No on 1762. Aye with Alice.
Pilcher Cook.
No on 284.
Pyle. Rogers.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Skubal.
No on 1762. Aye with Alice.
Solotrop.
Aye.
Sykes.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Tyson.
Aye.
Wagle. Wilborn.
Aye.
Has every senator had an opportunity to vote? Senator from Brown County, Senator Pyle.
Aye.
Does any senator wish to change their vote? Does any senator desire to explain their vote? Senator from Wyandotte, Senator Perry.
I'd like to join Senator Palin in his remarks.
He's approved. Further explanations, Senator from Johnson, Senator Bonet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to join the remarks of Senator Haley.
He's agreed. Senator from Johnson, Senator Skubal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to join the remarks of Senator Haley also.
So approved. Further changes of vote? Further explanation of vote? Seeing none, the clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. $39 have been voted for: Senate Bill 335, Senate Bill 292, Senate Bill 283, and Senate Bill 256. 35 having voted for and 4 opposed to Senate Resolution 1762, and 34 having voted for and 5 opposed to Senate Bill 284, all having received the required constitutional majority, are hereby declared passed. Correction and approval of journal. Reports from standing committees, the clerk will read.
Madam President, the Committee on Transportation recommends Senate Bill 291 be passed. Senator Peterson, chairperson. Madam President, the Committee on Transportation recommends Senate Bill 294 be passed. Senator Peterson, chairperson.
Messages from the governor, the clerk will read.
Message to the Senate of the State of Kansas. Enclosed herewith is Executive Order Number 1804 for your information. With warm regards, Jeff Collier, Governor of the State of Kansas.
We will now refer back to that order of business, introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions, and the clerk will read.
Announcing adoption of House concurrent resolutions. Senate Bill 392 by the Senators Pilcher, Cook, and others, and act concerning the legislature relating to bills introduced by committees. Senate Bill 393 by Senators Pilcher, Cook, and others, and act concerning legislative committees. Senate Concurrent Resolution 1611 by Senators Rabel and others. A concurrent resolution making application to the Congress of the United States to call a convention for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution of the United States that impose limits on federal government.
This constitutes introduction of Senate Bill 392 through Senate Bill 393 and Senate Concurrent Resolution 1611. Messages from the House, the clerk will read.
Announcing adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 5023, a concurrent resolution providing for a joint session of the Senate and the House of Representatives for the purpose of hearing a message from the Governor. House Concurrent Resolution 5023, a concurrent resolution providing for a joint session of the Senate and the House of Representatives for the purpose of hearing a message from the Governor.
This constitutes introduction of HCR 5023. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader from Johnson County, Senator Day.
Thank you, Madam President. I move an emergency be declared, the rules suspended, and HCR 5023 be adopted by voice vote.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. In compliance with HCR 5023, actually, no, it's 2053, I appoint the following senators to escort the governor, the senator from Saline, Senator Harvey, the senator from Sedgwick, Senator Faust-Rideau, to escort the Supreme Court, the senator from Cherokee, Senator Hildebrand, and the senator from Wyandotte, Senator Petty. Are there announcements? Senator from Sedgwick, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam President. Tomorrow, South Central delegation will meet for its weekly lunch. Topic of discussion will be workforce development. We've got a tremendous opportunity in front of us. We've got job growth on the horizon. We need to meet that opportunity. We also have a large segment of our current workforce at or near retirement. So we need to make sure our resources are devoted to that job workforce training that we're going to be dealing with over the next several years. So I would ask for your attendance. Thank you.
Senator from Johnson County, Senator Day.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a reminder that the Senate Commerce Committee dinner will be meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at the Topeka Country Club.
Further announcements? Sorry, Senator from Ford County, Senator Estes.
Thank you, Madam President.
Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, 142 South, will be the Catholic Mission Bible Study. Thank you.
Last call. Announcements. Seeing none, the chair recognizes the majority leader from Johnson County, Senator Day.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate adjourn until 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 7th, 2018.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The Senate is adjourned.
Join us back here at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning for the House live stream.